Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Film Fan Club Show. My name is Sam Carrico. We have got a great show for you lined up. We're catching up on The Acolyte. Of course, the new Star Wars series has wrapped up in the last week. We got John, Lein, and McKellar back to talk about it with us. But first, a little bit different monologue this week, guys. As you guys know, I work tirelessly bringing you content day in and day out. Killers of the Flower Moon was a big letdown. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be honest. Killers of the Flower Moon losing the Oscar for Best Picture, my film, big letdown. But we can't fix the Academy, okay? One thing I found out is there is hope, because the National Academy of Television, the Heartland Emmys, were able to recognize me for my achievements. This is an Emmy right here, and I want it. I don't even care about Killers of the Flower Moon anymore. And I want to start by telling a story about a kid, 19-year-old kid with a dream. September 2015, we launched the Film Fan Club Show, not knowing where it would go at all. Myself, Ricky Sacedo, maybe you guys know him, we just embarked. We just turned on the camera, like I'm doing now, and told the truth. You guys have been here with me this entire, almost 9 years now. It's amazing to think about. But I want to thank not only my supporters, the people who have cheered me on, but my enemies as well. Without the constant letdowns of everybody who has ever let me down, and there are many, without the constant letdowns, I wouldn't have had the perseverance, the wherewithal, the spite to get me here. Of course, I want to thank the TV news station that I worked for that laid me off in the middle of the pandemic. I'd like to thank the producer that I dated for a while. She doesn't have an Emmy, I do. I'd like to thank my most recent ex-girlfriend. If you hadn't let me down, I wouldn't have been able to achieve this. But most importantly, thank you to you, the fans, the viewers who've gotten me here. Sam Carrico, Emmy-winner, host of the Film Fan Club Show. We've got a great show for you guys lined up. John Lein is here. Welcome back, John. Alex is also here, both, of course, from the Mission Matinee podcast. How are you guys doing? Man, it's a great show.
I'm doing good. Doing good. Excited to get my Emmy in the mail.
I'm coming down. Why would you?
Why not? You got it for this, right?
Yeah,
the fearless journalism. Yeah, we built this house. We pointed out the title cards and other bits as well.
It's like implied
and talked about Obi-Wan Kenobi with you, Sam.
Well, okay. So while the implication is clearly that, yeah, of course, it's a recognition of it's like kind of like a lifetime achievement award. But yeah, it is for Best Evening Newscast for our local lead-in here on CBS.
Not your Monday night show?
Well, the news at 10 o'clock, it leads us into the film. It's very much implied. Okay, it's very much, I won't fucking stand for this. It's very much implied that they are giving us this award for the entire hour at 10 o'clock. And everybody knows, everybody that lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma knows, 10 o'clock, you watch the evening news, and at 10:30, you watch the Film Fan Club Show. Oftentimes, you watch it in the same hour. It's the same hour. This is clearly, it doesn't say it anywhere on it, but it's clearly it's clearly for a national achievement. Anyways, okay, so we're going to talk about, before we talk about The Acolyte, which I'm so excited to have you guys on here for The Acolyte, the new trailer for formerly titled Dune Part 3, now been reworked into Dune Prophecy, the HBO limited series. I've been saying this from the beginning. We just keep getting W after W here on the Film Fan Club Show. What do you think, Alex, about this Dune Prophecy trailer and the new direction? You know, like much like the Democratic Party, the Dune franchise is heading in a different direction, taking my advice and doing an HBO Max television series. What do you think about this new trailer?
It looks pretty good. Be interesting to sort of seems like we're going to get, I haven't read much about what it's supposed to be about, but I did watch that trailer. Seems like we're getting the backstory to, the Bene Gesserit gaining more control. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to watch it. Definitely something that I'll be excited to maybe even week to week when it's coming out. It could be fun. Could be fun to get in, the virtual water coolers, the speculations, see what the internet's saying, even though it's usually dumb and annoying and boring takes, but still could be fun this time for Dune Prophecy. But tune in in November when we're doing this to win our second Emmy.
It's the 10 o'clock hour. That's
Yeah.
the award. John, what is this different direction? I don't know if you've seen the first two Dune movies. I think you've seen the first two Dune movies at this point, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
obviously very different pacing for this third entry. I mean, it makes me wonder, was the script, before they turned the script for Dune Part 3 into a television series, was the script always going to be a prequel? Or did they say, you know what, now that Sam Carrico has given us this different direction, this different medium, let's have fun with it and go completely different? I mean, Dune Part 2 ended on a cliffhanger. Was Dune Part 3 always going to be a prequel, do you think, John?
Probably.
I'm very excited to see this new direction. It just goes to show the power of the film fan club.
Definitely.
The elites are recognizing us in all sorts of different various levels of government.
Emmy, yes,
not us.
It's a tip of the cap.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
tip of the cap to the show.
It's implied that when it says Sam Carrico, it probably, well, I don't want to say it means Sam Carrico and Friends. It's for me. It is for me, actually. You're right. But you know, maybe, you know, you can. I should have. You know what? Actually, never mind. My
Hollywood's listening.
Hollywood's listening. Red Bar is watching. We got a comment that says Biden drops out on National Ice Cream Day. What does this mean? It means that I can't wait for new prophecy.
Numerology is correct.
Prophecy is going to be amazing. I'm excited for it. It's just warms my heart, you know, after, you know, W after W. Anyways, whatever. This year is really turning around for me. The Acolyte is a Star Wars show that we reluctantly watched. Alex, I know you watched it. John, I know you watched it. John, it seems like, was the most excited to watch it. He started it before all three of us. So I want to ask you, John, what was your anticipation level going into the Acolyte? What did you think about it going in? What were you chomping at the bit to watch this series?
You know, I just happened to have a week when it first started airing where I had free time and access to Disney Plus, and so I just killed some time watching it. But initially I wasn't gonna watch it, and then y'all were like, "Oh, we're gonna talk about it," and I was like, "All right, Andor was cool. I'll give Acolyte a shot." That's why I agreed to watch it. Do we want to get into what I thought about it? Yeah.
Well, so okay, Alex, was your anticipation level? When did you start the series? I want to say.
I guess probably there were 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Probably like when episode 4 or 5 was out.
Okay, that's about whenever I did it too. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Because I was putting the show off, and then I found out that John was actually watching it, and I was like, "Oh, we're actually going to do it," because of course, we're going to talk about the boys in another episode. But that was the main entree for me. But then I found out they were wrapping up the same week. John was already watching it. Bam! The peer pressure got to you, Alex.
It did.
Let's hop right back over to John real quick whenever he's ready. Let's get your initial reaction, though, John. You want? I have a feeling that you might be on a different side than I am.
I think that the Acolyte was mostly fine. There was some cool action. There was some interesting camera work. I like a number of the actors involved, even if I think that maybe the aesthetic that Star Wars shows have to go for these days lends itself to a sense of woodenness. I don't think that the actors and actresses themselves were wooden. I think that's what they were instructed to go for because Jedi are boring.
Okay. Interesting. So that's John's initial reaction. Alex, what is your initial reaction? You finish the series and you set down the remote and you're like, wow, blank. What, fill in the blank?
I was pretty blank when it finished. I feel like that's a good prediction. No, I mean, like going through, you know, it was like mostly fine. I like, you know, sort of aesthetically, I thought the fight scenes were pretty cool. So I feel like some of them, you know, some of the like choreography with the filmmaking could have been tightened up, could have been a little smoother, cleaner. But I did like the sort of, you know, like wushu and you know, like Hong Kong style action mixed in. Also, you know, like some nods to the Matrix with, you know, getting Carrie Ann Moss in there as a Jedi, and like all of that stuff I enjoyed. I also was kind of, interested in this, like, oh, cool little murder mystery plot going on. But I would say, yeah, like overall, like I agree with John. Like Jedi are just boring, and I think that they maybe always have been. Like A New Hope, it like makes sense. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's an old wizardly sage figure. He wears robes because he's in the desert. And then, but now that has to be like, oh, it's not just because he lives in the desert and he dresses the same as everyone else in the desert. That's because that's the Jedi's uniform forever. And like, he was like an old man, kind of like calm about everything and all of this. So now Jedi always have to be like this emotionally detached, just boring. And I do like that the show kind of interrogates that, like that one, I guess, I don't know, we're jumping around, that one senator being like, you claim to control the uncontrollable. And she's like, we don't claim to control the Force. He's like, no, your emotions, you idiot. Like, you don't actually. I've seen the rest of the series. You guys can't do this. You're all a bunch of liars. I liked that aspect. But overall, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just burned out on, like, all of Star Wars, or, if this was just sort of like, I didn't hate any part of the show. But it, like, it wasn't as good as Andor. Andor still sort of stands above as like a rarity in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, like Andor and like the first 3 episodes of Mandalorian, like not even season, but like first 3 episodes of Mandalorian are like the only good Star Wars television. And I guess to that point though, I don't want to admit that I was like, just like I wasn't going to give this show a chance, because I really do think that's not the case. Ricky Sacedo and I, in our Ghostbusters Frozen Empire episode, we also reviewed the trailer for The Acolyte, and my thought at the time was, lightsaber fights look badass. They're shooting this not on the volume screen. They're shooting this with real locations. That's an unseen area, part of the timeline. I think I was I don't want to say that. I stood alone and gave a positive review to the Acolyte trailer. Boy, am I eating my words now. I hated this series. I thought it was really bad. I did not enjoy any of the characters. I think, John, you have a point, or whoever said that Jedi are supposed to be wooden. I get it. But is May supposed to be wooden? May Osha is the protagonist of this series, and I don't buy into her struggle at all. I like Amanda Stenberg. I like her as an actress. I liked her in Bodies. I know that they could do good work. I just felt like I feel like they should have been able to give a more believable performance as these 2 very conflicted characters. The action was whatever. It was fine. The show does a lot of damage to the Star Wars lore in ways that bother me. I know that's a little bit of a tired discussion now, but it has to be brought up. I did not enjoy a lot of the lore breaks. What is the guy with the cone head? His age is different now. That's fucked up.
Yeah, it sucks they fucked up the age of a character whose name I don't know.
It's like Coyote Mundi or something, right?
There you go. I knew you could get there. Oh, man.
I'm figuring that out. I would never have.
I almost said Plo Koon, and that's a different character. He's the one with the goggles. I don't know. I like Star Wars. Dexter Jetster. This wants to be the prequels so bad. The prequels are just better. I'm sorry. The prequels, George was able to already tell a story about how the Jedi are actually kind of morally gray, and he did it better in the prequels. And that's what this show is so seriously trying to do in the themes and the aesthetic of the show. It's aping something that, firstly, I thought Disney didn't even like, and now it's aping something that I like and trying to feed it to me and force feed it down my face. I didn't like it. John, what do you think about all the things that I said? You want to interrogate the themes of this series a little bit more and just respond to my accusation that the prequels did it better?
There are things. Okay. All right. Regarding the prequel doing it better, I have not watched the prequels in a long time. Just because something else is similarly bad doesn't make the prequels better. Like, something else not being good doesn't make something that is bad better.
Revenge of the Sith is a genuinely good movie.
Which one is Revenge of the Sith?
It's the third one, John.
I don't.
God,
Sorry.
dude. With that, like though, someone like in this little, let's see what the people who are very angry are upset about. I watched part of a little review, and again, like I don't know what the rest of this guy's thing is, but he was talking about how the fight at the end between the Sith guy and Soul was like too long and boring, and I'm like, are you guys the same people that like think that the Obi-Wan Anakin fight is like good? Like that, one is so long and boring.
I like
it goes on forever.
It's got layers to it. It's like every story should have every fight should be a story in and of itself, and that's what the
like, yes, I am. We are that person.
Yeah.
Well,
like
every fight should have an arc to it. The Obi-Wan Anakin fight at the end of Revenge of the Sith has an arc to it. The one at the end of this, which again, I'm not hating on it specifically. I just feel like I mostly need to defend the Obi-Wan Anakin. The one at the end of this doesn't have like the same layers to it, the levels. I always talk about not only going side to side in the fight, going up, down. You got to have these layers to it, make it interesting. Obi-Wan Anakin has that.
So, are you talking about purely visual layers, like not metaphorical layers? I'm with you.
Like, there's different beats to the story, like beats to the. Even if you just take that one Obi-Wan Anakin fight from Revenge of the Sith, there's beats to it. You know, there's different stakes. The stakes are changing throughout. I didn't get that at the end of this, or whenever the Chewbacca stand-in has that fight midway through the series either.
I forget, what were your thoughts on the Obi-Wan Anakin climax fight scene in Obi-Wan?
That was the only part of the show.
Okay, all right.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I didn't like that he defeated him with rocks. That was a little silly. But I like I'm a dialogue person. You know me. I'm a story guy. I work with Martin Scorsese. I really like dialogue, and they had really good dialogue at the end of that Obi-Wan Anakin fight. I stand alone in that. I know I'm in the minority on that.
Where Darth Vader tells Obi-Wan it's fine to not feel guilty, because from a certain point of view, it's correct. The certain point of view was that, no, don't worry, dog. I killed Anakin.
I am not your failure. They wrote it in a way. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
In a meta sense, but also I think they were able to write the dialogue in a way that it worked in a character sense. Like there's still a little bit of Anakin in there that wants to tell Obi-Wan, it's okay.
It's okay, dog. Don't even trip.
Go
home. Let me be a part of this fascist dictatorship. But yeah, I don't remember what we were talking about.
Well, John, are you like that too, right? I mean, that's a solid part of a otherwise horrible series, right? The Obi-Wan Anakin confrontation at the end of the series.
It was fine.
Oh my god. All right, let's talk about another inconsistency, a big one. Where's my spoiler banner? Where's the banner? Get that banner up there, Sam. The end of the series, they make a change to the canon that I don't like. They confirm the theory the dumbass theory that I've always hated, that kyber crystals change color because of what's in your heart. Oh, you know it's bad. I hate that shit. It's so fucking dumb. And why the fuck didn't Anakin's lightsaber change when he slaughtered all those children?
Okay,
that's a pretty evil act.
Hang on. Dumb. I have an in-canon rational reason for it.
Nice.
It's the fact that Osha and May are literally beings created without via a force convergence. So this thing that we had not yet known existed, a force convergence, existed and was used by the Witches' Coven to create life. And so, whatever. Anything that happens with Osha and May that's weird and not necessarily canon, it's rationalized. It's explained. They wrote it.
Yeah,
it works.
They're like an early Force dyad.
That's right.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, are they going to be a dyad? Are they going to do that thing?
They're going to do the coolest maneuver, the Force Skype call lightsaber handoff. God damn.
I hate the Rise of Skywalker. I feel like I just
same, but I love that moment so much.
Okay.
That's where it wraps back around to being cool. They're just hell yeah, go off.
Yeah, in a vacuum, when Ben pulls out the lightsaber, does a little Han Solo shrug. In a vacuum, I'm like, I like that.
And they're in a vacuum because they're in space for all of these movies. So it's cool in canon. Sam Carrico said it was cool.
I'd like to point, how many Emmys does Leslie Headland have? That's what I want to know. How many Emmys has the show won, or the showrunner behind the show won? Because if it's 0, then man, oh boy, oh man. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I have to put the spoiler banner back up. I think if you ask Leslie Headland, lesbian headlamp, hello. If you asked her what she thinks of how
what is it?
Change color. If you asked her what, like, does that just happen to Osha, or does that happen when a Jedi turns into a Sith? I think the answer would be she thinks it happens every time you turn evil.
So, like, well, no, hold on. We can get there. So, like, in your like headcanon world of Star Wars, the concrete Star Wars universe, like there's there's like the Kyber crystal store, right? And there's aisles for the Jedi that have like orange, purple, blue, green, whatever. And then there's a Sith aisle, and it's fine. That's how it happens. Yeah. Okay.
That's 100%. You pick out the. Yeah. I've always thought like a Sith could also theoretically pick like a black saber, kind of like what we see in the Mandalorian. Like,
that one, the black saber, the cool stuff. I mean, again, like they threw the lightsaber, it like broke. And so the Kyber crystal's already kind of like
this was the creation of a dark side. That would be kind of cool. Okay, okay, this is the first time we ever, even the bad guy in this series has the blue up till the end. That would be kind of, but they didn't do that. They didn't.
Right. He has the classic representation of evil lightsaber. Yeah.
So like if they like, maybe if they're like, oh, because she's like the first in canon Sith, or in 1,000 or whatever, and she broke, the blue one, and it accidentally became red, and that became like the insignia later on,
or maybe it's just. I mean, again, I'm just throwing out things not to make arguments that the show's like good at, but maybe this will help you watch the show. Maybe all red crystals are like corrupted, broken ones, and that's why the Sith end up using them, because they have to they don't get like mass-made Jedi lightsabers with the good technology. They gotta like steampunk theirs. So that's part of how that happens. Like it's a broken crystal in a little thing, and that's why it's red.
I think this is all. Go ahead, John.
Maybe it's both. That there are red Kyber crystals, because
the red Kyber Star,
Knights of the Old Republic, those video games, they're still canon, right?
No.
No,
Disney.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, never mind then. But maybe still, regardless,
it's all a loose canon
supporting it. That's right. It's the concrete universe of Star Wars.
Let's talk about canon. I'm trying to do a Jiminy Glick now. I've been watching. Let's talk about canon.
That's a good Jiminy Glick.
Thank you. Now I'm stuck on it. Let's get past it. Let's talk about canon. So we're going to talk about what is canon. There is this big discussion. John Campea, fucking charlatan that he is. John Campea made a video that's like, well, if you look at what is really canon, only thing that's canon is G canon. The G canon is George canon, which takes us all the way back to the only real Star Wars is the 6 movies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beyond that, it's all just, what is canon? Is this canon? Is this canon? It's all made up. There's none of this happened except for the first.
All of it's made up.
No, the first 6 movies actually happened. But other than that, it's all made up. None of this is real. So that's so when people say, "Oh, well, Disney made Coyote Mundi's age canon by this," blah 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 blah. No, they fucking didn't. Until George Lucas says, "Thank you." That's all.
Didn't George Lucas say that the books were canon? He signed off on those being canon back when he owned Star Wars, right?
True.
So does that mean that those are part of G canon just because he signed off on it, even though he didn't write it?
No, actually, no, because that would include Clone Wars as well, and Clone Wars is not part of G canon. It's. I'll look at the levels of canon. Hang on.
Oh, like why are we still giving George Lucas the G canon guy? He's the guy that originally broke all of it. No, but he also broke all of it with the Han shot first and the tweaking stuff. Like this like entire war over Star Wars canon was started by George Lucas, like messing with all of it. Do you know what I mean?
I wasn't prepared to address that. But yeah, I didn't think about the change, the special editions. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like so that I mean, I don't want to like overly like say, hey, nerds, don't argue about canon. Like that's not my bag. But like at the same time, it's sort of like I don't think that we should like make the like default to George Lucas as an authority figure, you know, for the canon because like he started the whole like all of it being broken. Like the OG nerds who've had
you're
little
right.
kid nerds now that are arguing, like they were arguing about like, oh, we need the original theatrical cut of Star Wars. That's the only real thing out there. You know, like they were mad that Vader was Luke's dad and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's always been kind of a messy, sloppy canon. I get like, yeah, we could be mad at Disney for messing with it even more and like ignoring what like the nerdos on Wikipedia have decided. Like I would rather it be decided by that like democratic, like wild ass nerds on Wikipedia than a mega corporation. I'm for that. You know, that's at least the people having their voice. But like, don't pretend that you're making an argument by saying, "Well, we got G canon." Like, no, there's no such thing as G canon. George doesn't have any idea what the rules of this universe are.
So, if I may, there's G canon unless the alternative is better.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, why not?
So there are no rules unless he says the Han shot, or unless he says the Greedo shot first. In which case, I'm going to veto that. How many Emmys does George Lucas have?
Exactly.
I really want to know for best evening newscast / talk show.
It's true.
Like, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's implied. Again, you can't see it. The writing is really small on here. It might say Film Fanclub Show on here somewhere.
It says it in our hearts, which is the only canon that matters.
Yeah, you know, if you look really close enough, it also says Killers of the Flower Moon.
Hell yeah!
I just want to know what Leo would think. Would Leo
George
be
Lucas
proud?
has 2 Emmys, by the way.
Fuck!
Why did you look that up? That's pretty funny. Were they for evening news and a talk show, though? Listen, John, we're here to get to the facts. This is investigative reporting.
Oh my god!
That's right.
At its finest.
The best thing I just wanted to hold it like this so bad. I just stuck it up in the air when I got it.
Yeah.
You could beat somebody to death with this. Like it's heavy. Listen to this. Can you hear that?
Ooh, that's pretty nice. Did you guys like that there's a helmet that can fuck up lightsabers?
So they gave an in-universe. Thank you for getting us back on track, Alex.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It sounded like metal, and then I was like, the helmet was one of my favorite things. I mean, the look was like, it was like kind of scary, and then like like intimidating. But it was kind of silly. It kind of oscillated in that zone for me. But like the mechanic of like, oh yeah, I have armor that like can disrupt a lightsaber. I was like, that's pretty dope.
So I did not get that. You're telling me this for the first time.
I thought that he was using his lightsaber to cut off the tip of their lightsabers, which temporarily shorted out lightsabers. And then
he has a gauntlet, like little bits of the metal, and then the whole helmet, I'm pretty sure, has the ability to like disrupt the frequency of a lightsaber. I'm pretty sure that's what was happening.
So I thought, like John, I thought he cut off the top of the hilt of the lightsaber. And I was like, why hasn't everybody already thought of that? And then why isn't it fucking indestructible? Come on, lazy writers.
It's too hard of a shot to make unless you're as badass at fighting lightsabers as the Stranger is. All right? Yeah. That's the rationale for it. There's a rationale for everything, Sam.
Yeah.
We can just come up with shit to make everything make sense if we want to.
Yeah. He gets the Jedi just by the ear. That joke landed poorly. That was a bad joke, Sam.
My thing cut out, and I didn't hear part of it. I just heard in the ear.
Yeah, no, the joke, was that they tried to hit the Jedi with lightsaber.
And he died. Oh, that is a good joke. I'm sorry. I was like, what in Star Wars is ear related? I can figure this out, but I wasn't thinking about our own crazy, canon breaking universe.
Yeah.
Let's
talk about more broadly about. I don't want to. Well, on another podcast that I enjoy that goes for 8 hours, they call him Smilo Ren, and I thought that was a very funny name, Smilo Ren. Ha ha.
Smilo.
Milo Ren.
His helmet
Milo.
looks like it has a
Smilo Ren. Ah, yes. Ah, cool. We're not actually talking about Kylo Ren. We're talking about this guy.
This guy, he looks like Smilo Ren. That's exactly what he looks like. What do we think about Smilo Ren? John?
He was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
You didn't think so? I mean, okay. Here's I have to address a broader feeling I have about Star Wars to talk about the Stranger, I think is what he's
That's what they call him.
Yeah, we can call him Smilo Ren. That is kind of clever.
Thank you.
Broken clocks are right twice a day. There's Smilo Sam right there. Look at that guy. He's got a tie on. Emmy-winner.
I need to update it. It's just going to be a picture of an Emmy from now on.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. With a little smile, little Sam smile on it.
Sorry, John.
John, you got to just go. Here, we'll give you the floor. Well.
Oh, no, I'm by myself. All right. Star Wars. Jedi. People that use the Force. They're fucking boring. They have all the powers in the universe. There's no canon selection of what is and isn't a Force power. There's a whip lightsaber now, apparently, which is fine. I'm cool with it. I have matured beyond the need for anything in Star Wars to make sense regarding any other aspect of Star Wars. My problem with the people that use the Force in Star Wars is that they fucking suck. Every single one of them. The Jedi suck. The Sith suck. Everybody in between sucks. They're all vaguely monastic cops. And it's fucking boring. The Stranger, slightly better than the rest of the Jedi, the rest of the Force users in the Acolyte, solely because he was allowed to be slightly emotional. Because the only thing that Disney and Star Wars do regarding emotions and the Force is that the Jedi don't feel anything and the Sith love anger. That's it. So as a bad guy, he was allowed to express something about his character's desires and motivations within his performance. Fine. He's cool. I like that the thing I liked best about Obi-Wan, the show, is that one bit of lightsaber fight where Darth Vader uses the Force to manipulate the lightsaber that the other person is using, right? It's really brief. It's like 30 seconds of a single fight scene that is then immediately over because Darth Vader kicks the shit out of the character he's fighting. In this, they amped that up, right? People are force throwing people. People are force throwing their lightsabers around, and they play into the fact that there aren't really any rules for how the Force works anymore. So that stuff is all fine, but the emotional, the narrative, the themes of all of the people that use the Force are boring to me, and I'm tired of shitty parents. Which is all anybody that uses the Force in Star Wars is. They're just shitty parents failing to raise children.
It's nothing but shitty parents. That's the whole thing. I mean, that is like the Skywalker saga is just about Palpy's inability to get an heir that wants to take over his evil throne.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you acknowledged that. I thought you were going to say the story of the Skywalker saga is the Skywalkers, and I was going to say no, it's fucking not. It's about Palpatine.
No, it's about family. It's about family and
Palpatine's family.
Yeah, Palpatine's family.
Yeah.
The Palpies.
Palpatine is the only character element that is consistent across the entire franchise.
You know, whenever Kathleen Kennedy came up with that idea for Episode 9, that's what she's like. It's like poetry.
Yeah, that was probably Kathleen Kennedy that came up with that idea.
No, it was probably Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams and like Lawrence Kasdan or something.
Somebody was like, what do we do?
What's the most Star Wars thing there is? Make it up on the fly. I mean, it is. It is.
Okay, George Lucas clearly thought through the prequels very, like, he was watching the Iraq war coverage every single day and taking fucking notes, and he was just,
I mean, he had it on the background while he was like, skimming like a SparkNotes version of like the Hero of a Thousand Faces and other
I
stuff.
read he also like apparently really liked the Lord of the Rings movies, so he like each like a Lord of the Rings movie would come out, and then the next Star Wars movie would kind of reflect
and
the Lord
then
of the Rings.
Gladiator came out, so we have an even bigger Coliseum.
Yes, yes.
No, like again, that's I don't need to get on this hobby horse. Like it's always been made up, and like George Lucas reacting to whims of like the market, what's cool, like, oh, Luke can't get the girl anymore because Harrison Ford is way more charismatic and cooler as Han Solo. So now they'll just be siblings. It'll be fine. It's like, and then, oh, that more children are watching these things and they're buying toys. Let's make a bunch of cuddly toys for the third one that could do a little bit of battle. It's just always been made up. And when there weren't that many of them, that was fine because like we didn't know the rules, we didn't know the lore. Like we were like, oh, we're discovering more. But as it now becomes this sort of like ossified thing, and I think the biggest problem of the franchise is the prequels for ossifying some of the worst parts of the original trilogy into like hardcore canon. Now we're stuck with that. We're stuck with Jedi wear robes. They're incredibly boring.
Yeah.
That
pisses me
like
off.
they can't do anything. Like the only two Jedi we meet in the original trilogy are two like really old dudes. So like it's fine that they're also like mystic. Yoda's living in like a medieval like swamp type thing, and he's a subversion for Luke to understand that like you could be small to be powerful, like it's not just like big and doing all this stuff. Doesn't it implied maybe that Yoda was so powerful he never even needed a lightsaber. But Lucas had no new ideas when he made the prequels, and now Yoda, who walks around with a cane, oh, that's all just like a long con prestige bit. He actually could do flips and shit to fight.
He's really Wanda now.
It's
he's
like Jedi
what?
Columbo.
Like what? like it all, like it's all bad because of the prequels. Like, sure, the prequels look better because like of these missteps and all this stuff, and like we could pretend that we like it because it's George Lucas. And yeah, it's pretty on the nose talking about what was going on during like the Iraq War and stuff, because George Lucas wanted to feel cool and important like the other directors and make something, that had meaning and lasting power, but he was lazy the whole time.
I'm about to freak. I'm about to fucking lose my mind.
You
prequel trilogy. The prequel trilogy has so much good shit in there. I just rewatched my whole monologue before I had this masterful recognition bestowed upon me, and decided to rewrite the monologue to be an acceptance speech. My whole monologue was going to be in defense of the Phantom Menace because I saw it 2 months ago when they re-released it on the 25th anniversary, and that movie. That everybody owes that fucking movie an apology, okay? That movie slaps. I had so much fun watching it. Jar Jar even isn't even that bad, okay? Like the parallels of Anakin destroying the thing at the end lines right up with the end of the New Hope. It's the circle. It's the ring theory. I get it. It's good. George Lucas didn't make shit up. He thought about it way more than this fucking did.
No, he didn't. Like it's fine. He doesn't. Like George Lucas has good ideas, but they're in a stew of bad ideas. And when he was young, he had people telling him, hey, man, some of these ideas are bad. Keep working on it. And then we got the, like, Star Wars. It was edited by his wife. It would, like, C-3PO is going to be like a used car salesman. Like, all of these horror stories you hear about, like the weird mind of George Lucas. But now he's so powerful, no one tells him no. So he makes the prequels. And he makes the worst decision of all to make it a prophecy that Darth Vader would have one moment of redemption by seeing his son do this thing. Whatever. And he throws this big space baddie down an elevator shaft and he explodes into lightning. Like, that. Why did that have to be prophesied? Why did that have to be this like Harry Potter level, Jesus Christ level arc? Like, no, it's a boring, bad way to tell the story. And it like contradicts little bits of what Obi-Wan says when he's talking to Luke in A New Hope. But, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, there are fun parts. Like, the pod racing, rad as hell. The score to Duel of the Fates, rad as hell. God. It's so good. The lightsaber fighting being more choreographed and, like, more tight. Like, it's like, okay, it's cool, I do enjoy, like, that we've gone to this weird, interesting middle ground of lightsaber fights. Like, they're not old men who can't see hitting each other with sticks like in A New Hope.
Yeah.
And they're not overly
that had its place
choreographed.
too.
Right.
I like the A New Hope a little bit. I kind of like the meta commentary of Vader and Obi-Wan being past their prime and still fucking fighting each other. I love that. I think that's you don't need to fix that. That's great. I hate when people are like, wouldn't it be badass if they made it really fast paced? I'm like, no, you don't understand story.
I mean, I like the fan edits where they do make it fast paced.
I think they're blasphemous. I think they should go to jail.
They're fun, dude. They're just cool. You're watching people reimagine a story. That's fine. I mean, the medium is the message. It's all about the technology we had to create the stuff at the time, and we made the best we could. Now that we have technology to do whatever we want, we're doing other stuff.
I feel like we cut off John like 5 minutes ago. John,
do
you want to say something? As I toss to you, will the Acolyte be remembered 25 years from now like the Phantom Menace is?
No. It wasn't so bad that the societal response to it will cement its place in history in the IP. But I don't think 25 years from now, I won't. 25 years from now, I will not give a shit about the Phantom Menace. I won't give a shit about I already kind of don't give a shit about the Phantom Menace. So I'm already there, man. Society as a whole needs to get on my level. Stop giving a shit about IPs.
Or argue about it, but I don't know. Make the point that you're arguing about it be for fun, not to bully creators, and the people that worked on this stuff. If you want to argue about Coyote Mundi's age, and what's canon, what's not, have a great time. Don't then take that and then call these people horrible human beings for writing a story and doing things and wanting to have a nod to this character that gets Order 66 on a planet made out of weird mushrooms and stuff.
Hey, to be fair, when I say somebody should be in jail, I don't actually.
I know. I'm just
hyperbole.
Yeah. No, you're good. Some of the stuff I see online is just so wild. But again, if you want to argue about canon in a universe that has never really made that much sense or had any consistent canon, go for it. But I feel like that way lies madness. You're never gonna find the center of Star Wars where it all makes sense, because it won't ever. And that's George Lucas's fault forever.
Are we excited for the next Star Wars television project?
I'm excited for Acolyte Season 2. I want to see freaking
Plagueis
and Yoda show up and have a cool lightsaber fight with Plagueis at some point, and then the whole thing being about Plagueis figuring out how he can use the Force to impregnate someone to make probably a Palpatine. He probably makes Palpatine with
Plagueis
space magic.
Palpatine, right?
No, Palpatine is Darth Sidious.
Yeah,
which
Plagueis,
is also Darth Plagueis was Palpatine's master.
Yes,
but Palpatine was also Snoke, right?
No, well,
Snoke was a Force puppet for Palpatine, right?
Yes.
But
but I was gonna say there's a few moments where the stranger just straight up disappears. So is he just a really good Force projection from?
Oh, they're gonna do the fucking Fantastic Beast thing. They're gonna be Grindelwald. Fuck.
Look, that's why the stranger is so hot. He's sexy because he's a Force projection of a plague monster that's projecting
it's
image
hot Plagueis, and he's so good at it. He's so good at it that they think they're actually fighting a lightsaber when they do it. Although I do one shot that sticks in my head this whole time. I thought it was great. The little Padawan, when she's fighting the stranger, and the lightsaber stops, and then she gets stabbed 3 times with the little knife dagger. I was like, damn, that was hardcore.
Well, that was just because in Obi-Wan and a bunch of other series, we see people get stabbed through the chest and then come back from it. I think it happened in Ahsoka. I didn't watch Ahsoka. I guess it happens in the Star Wars series that people can just get stabbed with lightsabers now and they come right back. So as a way, it was on the nose.
For me, I was just damn, that was it.
It was
brutal. Yeah, because it was just bam, bam, bam. I was like, oh.
I felt like it was so much the show being look, they're dead. Okay, they're not coming back. And I'm like,
this girl is dead. This child.
about Darth Plagueis.
Yes.
Back in 2016, 2017, Basically before the day The Last Jedi came out, and I watched it.
When you were but a child.
I couldn't even grow a mustache. Didn't even have an Emmy at the time.
just voted.
Just
out there.
barely voted for the Libertarian candidate. I was told that I'm an idiot. Oh man, what a time for my camera! I was told that I'm an idiot for voting for. Well, let me actually fix my camera real quick. Let me do that. It's because I'm going to upload this to the YouTube. So let me fix the camera.
Yeah, but John, I still think that Plagueis was Palpatine. I don't think I would be surprised if they like everyone has always been Palpatine because also like it's so dumb for the new movie. Like why is it Skywalker? Why wasn't he called Darth Sidious? Why was he called Palpatine when Sheev Palpatine was the name of the senator?
Alex, listen.
Yeah.
The rule of two means that there has only ever been a single Sith master and his attempts at having an apprentice. It's just one super powerful evil force being.
Yeah.
Trying to get
that's
a student.
Also incredibly boring, but I kind of love it. But no, like
the reason why the Jedi always fuck up and are shit is because they keep letting Jedi who have failed training Padawans, they keep letting Jedi who have had Padawans that have turned to the dark side or done some war crime or some atrocity that needs to be covered up.
Yeah.
They allow those Jedi who trained those failed Padawans to hold positions of authority within the bureaucratic organization that is the Jedi.
It's a little bit like moving to a different town, cover up, and then do all that. Which also, so I guess to get more into like, predictions, what's going on. Like we didn't learn what the Green Lady did to make the Stranger bounce, right? Or like, do we think the Stranger's gotta be like a powerful force projection of Plagueis? Like, let's put on our Rich Evans, try to be a dumb writer as possible hat to figure out what the twists are gonna be.
Maybe
nailed it. It's a projection of Plagueis. Sorry, John.
Do you think so?
But okay, so I think it's a projection of Plagueis, but it is the image of a individual that wasn't Plagueis that Plagueis killed and then co-opted the visual body of.
Okay.
I think they're
both.
That's right.
We're gonna have our cake and eat it too.
Exactly. That's the best way to do it. If we're thinking stupid, the best way to do it is to just be like, it's both.
¿Por qué no los dos?
So back in 2017, I was told that I'm an idiot and that it's never going to be Plagueis. Supreme Leader Snoke is Plagueis? That's a dumb theory. Your Snoke theory sucks. Fucking loser. And now Disney is so lame. So who's the loser now?
Well,
wait,
hate.
Wait, hold on.
Hang on. Let me finish.
You were made fun of.
Excuse me.
Proven correct. And now it's actually Disney that's lame, not you were smart in 20.
Let him finish.
They are so creatively bankrupt now. Thank you, John. Thank you, good friend. Thank you. They're so creatively bankrupt. I was told, like, they're doing something original. Fuck you. They're not going to do somebody else's work. Why would we steal from stuff? That's not even canon. Lame. And now they're so creatively bankrupt. Look who came crawling back and says, you know what? I know you don't like this series anymore. I know this franchise is dead. It's a dead franchise. Like a dog. Dead like a dog. It's a dead franchise. It's a dead franchise. What can revive this franchise? Thrawn? No.
What's going to bring the franchise back?
Plagueis? Sorry. No.
Is it dead if it continues to have things made in it?
It's a zombie franchise, John.
Thank you.
It's an undead franchise.
I'm so bitter.
They're vampires.
It's still growing and changing and
nobody's watching it. Nobody's watching it.
We're watching it so we can tell other people to not watch it, and so they watch it to see if we were correct.
When The Mandalorian and Grogu comes out and makes $200 million, and that's it, then we'll know.
Are they
This
making
franchise-
a Mandalorian Grogu movie?
Yes, they
Oh,
are.
wow.
They're making a film based on the Mandalorian series.
A film?
Yeah,
A whole film?
like in theaters, like a movie.
Like a thing you could go and see.
Like pay to see, which nobody's gonna do because this is a dead franchise. The Rey movie? Who the hell is gonna watch the Rey movie? I will, but other people probably won't.
You know, it's interesting. A part of me is like, you're right, it is dead. But then another part of me is like, I remember being in 2010 and myself and everybody else being like, Marvel is dead. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is a dead zombie movie that everybody's tired of. Cape, what was the term for it?
Cape shit.
Well, cape shit, but it was I don't know, fatigue, Marvel fatigue, superhero fatigue, whatever
superhero
that
fatigue.
Called.
That
was the thing
it's happening now,
about. Except I like the newer Marvel shit more than
when we said it 12 years ago, we were wrong. But now, for real, we're really actually superhero fatigue.
And it's happening to Disney too, to Star Wars too. It's happening to Star Wars.
The box office has shown it. Each Disney Marvel or Disney Star Wars movie made less than the previous one. Like that's
cowboy movies are dead. Musicals are dead. The dead things.
Now I'm
historical epics are dead.
Starting to feel a little personally offended because it's like you don't watch my show. I've made very bold predictions on the Film Fan Club show in recent monologues that video game movies are going to be the next big thing. And then I think my last monologue last week was lamenting that we've actually had a bunch of original franchises like the Maxine, the X franchise pop up. Like we've had a break from superhero and Marvel movies, at least at the box office, because I think there is a wider recognition that these things are kind of not making as much money as they used to at the very least. Yeah. Are they over? I don't know, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't disagree. I definitely think I think the idea you talked about in that one monologue of like Marvel feeling like it comes with homework is a lot, and like, how do they now bridge that? Like, are they going to be able to sort of move, like, because Disney's going to be making content in the Star Wars universe and the Marvel universe for as long as we don't break up the corporation using the federal government, and monopoly, so forever. This is all we'll segue right into The Boys with this, except we're going to stop and we're going to change clothes and pretend that it's an entirely different episode. Spoilers.
I'm not changing.
I know, I'm joking.
My clothes either.
It was a bit. It was a goof. Yeah.
We can cut this out.
Yeah, cut it. We'll fix it in post.
In the news, we call that pushing ahead. Make sure you push ahead. This will tie in with our boys' discussion, which will be covered in a future episode. Make sure you check that out.
Yeah, tune in next time when we talk about The Boys and how it's always been woke. But they're always going to be making stuff. But it will be interesting to see if they are able to pull off, like, can we turn Marvel and like Star Wars into like sort of just brands where like media happens in them, and we're able to like have enough little threads that maybe if you're one of the completionists, you can watch all of it. But like also now we're just making sort of like smaller things, or are we still in an era where because of like, the success of the Harry Potter franchise that led into the beginning of the Marvel stuff, like, are we still in this era where it all needs to be interconnected? It needs to be winks and nods and like big, long, overarching years plots of things, or it's going to be. But I'm glad, like you said, that we are like more indie stuff's coming out, more mid-budget stuff's coming out. Like, I mean, that is a good sign to get different types of stories and different media made. But again, I like, none of these things are ever going to be dead, because the richest company that like spent the most money to own these things is like they're gonna beat that horse forever, I think.
That's very well said. We've covered it. I think we've covered the Acolyte way more than I planned on doing. My last prepared statement that I had was, I just feel so vindicated that they're going back to the Darth Plagueis well after telling me they were never going to do that because they're doing original stuff. There's a lot of personal animosity I have towards the Star Wars franchise, but I'd like to point everybody to my video essay why I hate my favorite franchise of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Story. It's really good.
It's good.
It's mostly good because John and Alex did a really good job editing it. Sorry, John.
Nothing. I forgot.
I'm running out of things to say about the Acolyte. If there's anything else that you guys want to add, or we could start talking about the boys, which of course will be covered in a separate episode.
It's interesting to me in the Acolyte how explicitly the Jedi become cop stand-ins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have a senator who's like, we need transparency, and he's kind of shot as antagonistic towards this Jedi character that we're apparently going to spend a lot of season 2 with. I think at one point, the Yoda's apprentice, who's in charge of whatever the branch of the Jedi that we're involved with in the show, she says something like, she blames Saul as a single bad person who went rogue and failed the Jedi, but the Jedi themselves aren't bad. It's like one bad apple.
Bad apples.
It's like, and it's one of those things that I feel like isn't an intentional, conscious thing, that they were like, let's examine the Jedi and parallel it with modern day police and rhetoric around the conversation about police. It's just a thing that maybe somebody pitched having an idea for that just became a thing they did because they're just doing things. Like, that's my problem with Star Wars mostly, is that it feels like there's no conscious overarching thought behind it. They're not going, oh, let's examine these themes and elements. They just are doing things that feel in the short term like maybe it's doing something that then just gets dropped because it was never planned to do anything. You know what I mean? That's probably very rambly.
Well, no, I mean, I think we're running into the problem that, like, Star Wars is still considered in some way like a concrete universe. Like, it's a play. Like, people still think about it as another world that has rules about the Force, that has like the lore and all this stuff. So then when you try to bring in that, like, the Jedi are going to be cops, especially if you're going prequels, like, well, you still, like, it has to now still lead into the events that unfold where the Jedis are like the force of good, you know, and they were tricked by a senator, you know, and blinded by the dark side, you know, and all this stuff. And then, so it's like, it's still sort of like hamstrung by G canon, I guess.
They can't do anything good because they are shackled to G canon.
Yeah,
which doesn't exist. It's never existed.
A millstone around the neck of the Star Wars.
It's like a made-up one at the same time. It's like, oh, we all think that George Lucas had some big book that had all of the Star Wars lore written down in it, and he was just merely a prophet that brought it to us. But no, he just made it up.
Did he write a show Bible? Some people write a show Bible. Leslie Headland supposedly wrote one for this, a show Bible, which was a new concept for the Disney Star Wars television shows. They don't do that. It's like a standard thing you do in most television shows, but they don't. I wonder if George wrote a franchise Bible.
Definitely not. He's so lazy.
He's not a creator, and I will not have you slander his fucking name like that.
God. I will. God, he's a big goofy dude that has cool ideas and made some cool stuff, but like, he's not like out there like, oh, I'm ring theorying this. He's like, it reminds me of things I already made, so I'll just call it poetry.
It rhymes.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the end? I want to do one last thing. What do you guys think about the end of the season?
We've like only sort of talked about the meat of the show. I wasn't sure if we wanted to talk about that at all. You know, like
I want to talk about what y'all thought about the end and whether you want to watch season 2. I feel like that's an important thing to end what is ostensibly a review of the show.
Like the end with like the cover up and Little Yoda, and I don't know why we needed to wipe May's mind, why Usha and May couldn't be rejoined. Like, I get that they're kind of like, they're the same person. They were fought as little tiny kids, and then they went on separate arcs that ended with them in now, like, where the other one began. That's kind of, whatever. They've both changed, but now they're ending where, in opposite spots. That's fine. But like, I don't see why, unless just because we don't want to have the same actress interacting with herself on screen all the time. That's probably the reason. But like, outside of that, I was like, why now are we just like fully wiping your sister's memory away? You know what I mean? Like, you're returning her to an 8-year-old so that you can now go do what you wanted to do, but with someone who, like, there's less rules in learning the Force. You're just learning the Force. So you also are kind of back to where your mom wanted you to be in the witch coven, but now instead of a bunch of witches, it's this guy. It's, hot Milo Ren or whatever. And that's fine. But also it is kind of like, I don't know how to feel about that. I did like, in like the sense of like, oh, where could this go? Even though I don't know if it'll go anywhere good. That just like the Jedi are just continuing to cover up their failures, and all of this stuff. Just again, like, she clearly did some cover up for her Padawan that went rogue, and then they did a cover up. Again, but also I like that they're doing these cover ups because they're just convincing themselves it's the right thing to do, And I also enjoyed that, like, this whole massacre on the witch planet was because they were like, oh, they must be doing something horrifically evil to these kids, so we have to stop it. And then we get at the end, Soul being like, also, I'm still like, the Virgins is more important than either of y'all's lives. Like, I'm bringing y'all here not because I really care about you, but because I'm going to prove that the Virgins exists, so like, even his motivation for saving Osha is made more cloudy and gray. Like, he wanted to save both, maybe never caring about them, maybe caring about them, but also as a means of like showing that this place is like extra force powerful, and maybe this will be like, their police department getting military weapons sort of thing. I don't know. But I mean, like, if season 2 was out right now, I would want to keep watching because, like, I'm currently in, I am curious about the elements that they didn't really explain in this. Like, at least had somewhat of an arc for the main people we were following, but then just like heaped on that, like, oh, but we'll see what happens later. Yoda's gonna be here, Darth Plagueis. Why is any of this actually happening? We don't fully know. So, will I hold on to that energy whenever the second season comes out? I don't know. But like, if it was out right now, I would watch it. And so if y'all want to talk about it, then I'll probably watch it then.
Yeah, I might need to rewatch season 1 before. It's only 8 episodes, so luckily it's an easy task. But yeah, I say that, but man, getting through this was a slog. I don't know if I would do it based on the quality of this season, but maybe the setup for the next season. I do think the cover up is interesting. I'm very bitter about Darth Plagueis being in this series, but I am curious how they do it, how it leads into. It's weird how, like, the Mandalorian side of things is setting up the sequel trilogy, and then now they're going all the way back to the beginning, and like, they're going to try and bridge the gap to the prequel trilogy as well. So they're just on either side, they're filling in these holes, and I'm not really interested based on the quality, but I'm interested based on the promise. So
I definitely would want to see how they up like the fights, because like, again, like, I thought pretty much all of the fight scenes, while not always caring about who's interacting with them, were like well done, and I would like to see those hopeful, like, that energy carry over and maybe be elevated in another season. That little like wushu stuff going on, using the Force, in that kind of kung fu way of like the Force pushes and the other stuff. I thought all that was, again, like, I think I've seen it done better in other films, but like, I think like this was good. It wasn't bad fight choreography.
John, it sounds like you're going to watch the second season.
If y'all want to talk about it, I will, but I probably wouldn't otherwise.
Wow.
I think I didn't really love the end, but that's because, once again, as almost always happens, I read the text as I was reading it, and my brain came up with ideas of what could be cool for them to do. And my brain went, oh, you know what would be really cool? If Osha and May join up and go off on their own into the universe to learn about the Force together without either the Jedi or the Sith, and have to, over the course of season 2, avoid pursuit from both parties, right? Like, then you could examine the neutrality of the Force without the inputs of these extant organizations, and then get their character dynamic as they like grow and learn about each other and how they've become different, right? But then they erased whichever one's mind and sent her back with the Jedi, and I was like, that's they erased May. Osha went with the stranger for some reason. I guess she killed Soul, and so that meant she was a Sith now.
Is this the invention of the Darth Vader choke too? Is that where this started? Is that
I think
first
it might
time?
be. Yeah, that might be where they're going with that. The show's trying to do that sort of thing a lot of places.
Well, yeah, because it does feel like we're learning now where Palpatine learned how to do the thing, and with the social commentary that, like, of course men couldn't figure out how to create life, it was women that could, and then that technology gets bastardized by Palpy, and then we get 9 movies of Palpy just trying to have a child or a grandchild or a great grandchild through weird related kisses and Force magic that takes over his dark empire, and it never happens.
John, you're describing what you want to happen with May and Osha teaming up and going off and being gray Jedi, essentially. And I just, it's bringing me back to the Last Jedi, and my hope and maybe this is why I'm so checked out right now, is because it reminds me so much of the Last Jedi. Me speculating. Maybe Luke's going to be a gray Jedi. Maybe Rey and Kylo will become gray Jedi. Maybe Snoke is Plagueis. What is Plagueis up to? All these things. I was so burned by that horrible film and the divisiveness of the fan base. It's not my fault. It's the other people's fault who were divisive. Not me. I'm not divisive. And it's just, I'm having a hard time getting in there and being like, ooh, but I'll watch season 2 maybe. We'll see.
If it gets made, because they haven't yet confirmed that it's greenlit.
Thank God, too, because if this show gets canceled, I wouldn't mind that either.
We have all this mystery we've set up, and it got canceled.
It would be interesting to see what they do instead, because if they cancel it, it's not like they're going to not do Star Wars, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, they'll just do other Star Wars shows instead. Like
they'll do more animated standalone things that are cheaper.
Yeah. Well, they got Ahsoka. I think they're going to do more with that, and I think Andor season 2 is still coming eventually, hopefully.
Which I'm worried about. Andor season 1 was dope. I'm worried that Andor season 1 being good is going to make season 2 bad.
Yeah, I agree. Could you add some more Darth Vader? Could you put a lightsaber in there, please? Like, like some shit like that.
Keep him away.
No, like I don't want that in my Star Wars. Get that out of there.
Ooh, real quick, and then we can move on. Sam, what did you think of the lightsaber whip that was there for a few seconds?
You mentioned that earlier, and I knew I let it go, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I hated it. Obviously, I don't like it. It's not.
It's so funny. She whipped it out and whipped that Umbra moth or whatever it was called, and I was like, oh,
neat.
Cool.
And then moving on.
So dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Well, none of it makes sense, Sam.
Yeah.
It's force energy focused into light that can cut people.
It's cool as fuck.
None of it makes sense.
It is cool. Doesn't make sense.
All right, so I give it 0 bags of popcorn. I'd give it 1 cup of diet soda. John gives it 5 bags of popcorn.
Fucking up the bags of popcorn bit. They all get 5 bags of popcorn.
They all get 5 bags.
The point.
The only one that doesn't is Ant-Man, because you weren't in it, and we were.
We have an entirely different dynamic here. All right, let me wrap up this episode.
It's an easy 5-bagger.
We don't want our cinema to sue us.
With a that's true. It's an easy 5. Dexter shakes. I don't know.
All right, that's our show. I'd like to thank John Lein and Alex McKellar for joining us this week. Next week, make sure you join us for Deadpool and Wolverine, and then we'll be back after that with more John and Alex. We're going to talk about The Boys. Wow, superheroes are back for 2 whole episodes. Oh my God. I'm Sam Carrico. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Samuel D. Carrico. The Film Fan Club is on Instagram now at The Film Fan Club. And subscribe to YouTube and all the podcast stuff. I'm Sam Carrico. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.